You see, the beauty about real estate is you learn to use debt to get rich. I had to buy the investment for zero money. Zero money. Most people will tell you, I can't invest because I don't have money. That's a loser. Rich Dad said, real estate is wealth. Those that control the real estate control the world. Rich Dad would break out the Monopoly board game and we'd play Monopoly. So for months we'd just play Monopoly, having a good time. And finally I started to see it. I said, 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. When I was 19, I came home from school in New York, and Rich Dad owned the Big Red Hotel right on Waikiki Beach. He had gone from a poor man to a very rich man in Hawaii in 10 years. That hotel just sold last year. He paid $1.2 million for it. It was a lot of money back in 1968. He just sold it for $800 million. You see, the beauty about real estate is you learn to use debt to get rich. I'll give you another tip. If you're going to be rich, you have to learn to use debt. It's called other people's money. So when I hear poor people say to me, I don't have any money, I said, because you're an idiot. That's why. You're not supposed to use your money. You're supposed to use other people's money. Well, that's debt. I don't want to do that. And so they stay poor. There's 4 types of people in business in the world, anywhere. Spain, US, China, Japan. There are employees. Employees have a mindset. Employees all over the world say the same thing in their head. I want a safe, secure job with a paycheck and benefits and a pension. They all say the same things. Japanese, Espanol, American, Filipino. And this is small entrepreneur, small business, or a specialist like a doctor, lawyer, attorney, real estate agent, massage therapist, web designer. S means small, self-employed. These people violate Rich Dad's lesson number 1. They work for money. These are the people that pay the taxes. That's why you don't work for money. These people don't pay taxes. In your country, in my country, it's the same. And these people are big business. So this would be like I own a clothing store in downtown Barcelona or Madrid. This is Zara, different mindset. This is a person with a small restaurant. This is McDonald's. This is a small person with a coffee shop. This is Starbucks. I don't work for money. I don't have a paycheck. That's why I'm rich. I don't want a paycheck. I don't need a paycheck. If you can not need a paycheck, you have a better chance of getting rich. Become an entrepreneur. The people who are the biggest winners are people who know how to use debt to get rich. Debt is money. After 1971, when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, money became debt. And so the people who are losers are savers. So as Kenny says, you put your money in the bank as a saver. Kenny goes in and borrows it out as a debtor. And we use that money to buy millions of dollars worth of real estate. So Kenny just went over $1 billion worth of real estate using debt. And my first property was $18,000. But I took a 3-day real estate course. It was a very good real estate course about how to use no money to buy real estate. The property was a little condominium, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, $18,000 US. It was on the beach of Maui. The reason the price was so low is the market had crashed. Smart investors always wait for the crash. So this thing crashed. I had to look at 100 properties once I left the class, 3-day class, I had to look at 100 properties in 90 days. So with this here, the instructor said I had to buy the investment for zero money. Zero money. Most people will tell you, I can't invest because I don't have money. That's a loser. This was 1974. The dollar had just gone off the gold standard. Everything was coming up fast. So I had to figure out how to buy it for zero. And the reason I say that is most poor people always say, I can't afford it. I know some of you right now say, well, I can't afford it. I don't have time. I have children. I have a job. I have bills to pay. And it is those excuses that keep you poor. If you cannot change that talk in your head, you'll always be the poor person. So there was about 32 in my class, 3 days long. I think only 3 people completed the exercise. We went, we looked at 100 properties, wrote a one-page report. At the end of the 90 days and 100 properties, this was the best property. So I went back to the person, and it was in bankruptcy. It was right on the beach, just as pretty as this beach here. And he said I had to have $2,000 down. This is called equity. Again, it's the language of money. So I have equity. The bank was going to lend me $6,000 in debt. That was the deal. Now I had the $2,000 in cash, but the name of the game or the exercise was, could I buy it for zero? So what I did was I paid for this property with a credit card. So now it was $100% debt. With that 100% debt, I made $25,000 a month. I was a free human being. I never needed money again. If you can make money with no money, that is called an infinite return. Because I have no money in the deal. The 6 words that are basics of financial education, financial intelligence: income, expense, asset, liability. And the 2 other words are cash flow. So when you look at the average person, they have a job, money comes in here, they pay for their house, and the money goes to a bank through a mortgage. So it's not an asset because the cash is flowing out. So it's a liability. So the definition of liability, does it take money from your pocket? And for an asset, does it put money in your pocket? So when I have a rental property here, it puts money in my pocket. So if I live in a house, it's a liability, because even if I have no debt on it, I still have taxes, depreciation, repairs, and upkeep, insurance, and all this. When I rent a property, I've done a good job buying it and structuring it. Every month it sends me money. So I started off when I was 25. I had a little 1-bedroom condo, and it put $25 in my pocket. It was a start. So this was good debt. You see, the debt also went out and paid, but it also put $25 in my pocket. So net, I was making money from my little house. So today, my wife and I own 6,500 of them. And every month, 6,500 houses put money in my pocket. My people who live in them love me and all this because they have a place to live. But all of this comes from debt. We have the 100% finance. It's all debt. So this is good debt. And what makes it good debt is the two most important words: cash flow.
NOI means net operating income. So if you really think about it, it's just income minus expenses. That's all it is. And so it's important to know where you are financially. So a banker is going to look at your income after expenses. So that's a great way to say it.
Yeah, it's really quite simple. So let's say, I'll keep the numbers simple. You have $1,000 income and you have $500 in expenses. This is a property.
Yep. So you have a $500 NOI, or net operating income.
So why is that important?
Well, the banker looks at that number because that's the number that they see to be able to pay back any debt you might want.
Right. This is where this comes in, right?
Correct. So they're going to look here and they're going to say, okay, this person has $500 in NOI, therefore we can give them a loan, say up to, say, $350, $250 or something like that. So they're not going to give you a loan for the whole amount because they don't want you to be that tight. So what they're going to do is they're going to look at the NOI and say, how much can we loan you?
So when Kenny calls me and says, I have this property, it's in horrible condition, there's no income, there's expenses all over the place, you get excited, right?
A lot of people get hung up here because they don't have a financial statement, any way to go to a banker, let's say. But sometimes a banker will look at the property itself. So they'll say, this has a bad NOI on it, why would we give you money? You know what I mean? And then so that's when the financial education comes in and you say, well, this is what I plan to do with it.
Correct. What Kenny is saying, we've had, and keep the numbers simple, he's had income of 0.
Yeah.
And this is 1,000.
Yeah. So you'd have a negative NOI.
And the banker goes, tell me why.
I can't lend on that, right? Because it's a higher risk of being able to be paid back. The NOI, or the net operating income, determines the value. So what you back into it, another vehicle called the capitalization rate, or a cap rate. So it's actually, well, we're getting a little technical, but typically the cap rate or capitalization rate divided into the NOI determines the price. So that's generally how that works. But in the case that we were talking about, the value of the building with no tenant in it
is way low.
Is way low, and there's really no income. So it's basically whatever the structure is. So I've seen lots of situations where a vacant building, somebody might have spent $5-10 million on a building that's completely vacant. Vacant warehouses, vacant whatevers, right? Sometimes you see them get converted into clubs or whatever. Well, there's value there. Somebody spent a lot of money on it. Well, one time, somebody owns it too. It could be a bank, it could be whatever. So taking that and creating value, sticking a restaurant in it, a gym in it, a club in it doesn't really matter who's in it. Well, it does, because you want them to pay you, but now you're creating the income, and then that's how you create value. So in that example, let's say you buy a building for $1 million, on a block. With a tenant in it, it could be worth $3, $4, $5 million.
So if it's a tenant in it, the value is up.
Yeah, right. Because what you do is you put all that together, and then you can actually sell it.
Got it. And so even if the NOI is negative, if you create a plan that creates value for the property and shows the increase that you're going to give the property's value, the bank will give you the loan.
Oftentimes, yeah, and
not always,
but there are ways to do it. So in that particular case, you might get a loan from somebody like Robert. Say, hey, I need $1 million, and this is my plan. And then once you get a tenant in it, then you go back to the bank and you say, hey, give me a loan, and then they give you a loan and you pay Robert back.
So the thing that Kenny's always looking for is, after we stabilize the building, he'll tell me, he says, look, in 5 years, I'm going to get this from 1,000 to 10,000.
Yeah.
I go, okay, so that I know I'm in it for 5 years with them as an investor. And on top of that, we're going to reduce the expenses back to 500. NOI goes up, the value goes up, the debt goes up to, let's say, 10,000.
So I have a friend, for example, he actually bought a building in a town up in Idaho where I have a vacation house for about $1 million. And it was an old Elks building, a beautiful building downtown, but it had been vacant for a long time. He bought it and he put like 30 offices in there, small offices, 1,500 to 2,000 feet each, and grew the revenue, right? So everybody pays.
So the income went up.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he broke it up and then leased it up, and so he has his expenses, but now he's got 30 people paying rent, as opposed to just one big vacant building. He turned it into a pretty cool workspace, for everybody.
And then Kenny's in his third book, The Advanced Guide to Real Estate. His job is to get this up, keep this stable. Then he goes back to the banker and says, look, we've got all these tenant monies going up. So we now want $12,000.
Yeah.
Because he's improved income, kept expenses low, building's more valuable.
Yeah, the key there is the bank's always looking at your NOI to pay back their loan. So the more you can grow that, the more loan you can get.
Mm-hmm. And so essentially the renters are paying your debt.
Of course. Yeah, essentially. So if that building I was referring to goes to 50% vacant, now he's in trouble. Mm-hmm. But if you can keep it full, so now you're getting into management. But regardless of that, that's how you do it. There's opportunities like this everywhere.
And I know that another thing that you always mention in all your books and the ABCs of real estate investing is that property management is very important. Poor property management equals poor profits, right? And so I wanted you to kind of explain the importance of the property management.
Well, essentially all property management is taking care of the property in every way. So taking care of the people that might be inside of this building, for the various things that come up from day to day, collecting the rent and paying all the expenses. That's really all it is. And so the property manager's job is to make sure the place is clean and that things are getting rented and all those things. And so the owner of the building would hire a company like that, or they can do it themselves, and basically keep the place full. So in our world, we have a property management company that we have about 300 employees. All we do is focus on these two things. How do we keep our expenses low and keep our income high? Because we're always trying to grow our NOI. So our NOI, we have a budget for, let's say, 2017 or 2018 or 2019. The goal is to grow that NOI each year.
And Kenny's done such things as the way he grew the income. He put washing machines, right? In the unit, there are no washing machines. And so when he put washing machines in the building, this went up.
Yeah, so in my apartment houses, we would buy apartment houses that had washer and dryer hookups, but no machines. And so the people would walk down to the laundromat or whatever, and it was a bit of an inconvenience for the people and all that. So I said, well, let's just buy, for $650, we can buy a washer and dryer set and stick them in all there. And we did that. And so I probably bought 3,000 or 4,000 sets of washers and dryers for a lot of our properties. And so now all of a sudden we can charge $75 or $100 more in rent.
And this goes up.
Yeah.
This doesn't go up as much.
It's a win-win because they have to go spend some money anyway to go do their laundry. Now they can do it here. And for me, if I can pay back those washers and dryers in 1 year because it's only $650 for a set, and if I can get $75 more, then all of a sudden I've got $900 to almost $1,000 more in rent. So I'm actually, it's what I call a 1 year payback.
So what Kenny does, he borrows the money here.
Yeah.
To put washing machines in here. Again, the tenant pays it all off, and the washing machine stays there.
Right.
And I think that's a brilliant idea because I know that both of you have created incentives for the renters. So for example, if they stayed for a year, you would do certain renovations, like including the washing machine. And so every year there was another incentive, which not only increased the property's value, but also the renter's paying for it, essentially.
And the banker is happy.
Yeah.
What would you guys respond to the critics who say that real estate is a slow lane approach to getting rich?
That's fine with me. I can't think of another. I mean, I think it's really super simple. Real estate is very slow and very dumb.
Every month we got cash.
Yeah, I like that. I like, we're not banking on something going up. This is called creating value. We're not parking our money in something and hoping it goes up. This is very strategic.
Perfect.
So everybody's got their point of view. Most people want to get rich quick. That's why they never get rich.
Yeah, this is not that.
Yeah, this is financial education. This is smart. This is having your banker be your partner.
Yeah, and these are long-term assets, by the way. This is a business. This is like managing a business. We would not sell these. So unlike the stock market or something, we're not trying to time things. We're trying to generate cash flow here and then move to the next one.
Okay.
So can I give you one last thing? Because those guys always upset me. So what Kenny does, he increases this, fixes this, and then when this goes up, he gives my money back. So I might give Kenny $1 million for 5 years, let's say. He increases this, decreases this. The bank says, oh, your NOI is up. So he puts all this money in there. I get my $1 million back. I still own the property. I still have the cash flow going in. So all you guys who want to get rich quick, it's called an infinite return, right?
Yeah, and it's tax-free.
Tax-free.
The reason it's tax-free is because when we use debt to pay back debt, it's debt, so it's owed. So when Robert gets his money back, it's actually tax-free.
Yeah, let me say I lend Kenny, and this is pretty common numbers, I lend him $1 million. He fixes all this. The bank gives him $3 million. I get my $1 million back.
Right.
And that is tax-free. I get it back.
Right.
And I still own the building with Kenny.
So to your question, you got to wonder why if you can invest $1 million and get it back tax-free and still have lots of cash flow.
And still have the cash flowing this way.
Why somebody would think that, it's a pretty simple.
Ready to dive into the world of real estate investing with little or no money? Discover the game-changing insights from Robert Kiyosaki in his remarkable book. Click the link in our bio or check out the pinned comment to get your hands on this amazing resource on Amazon today.